It is the season of giving, but did you know that giving back can actually boost your mental health? And joining us now to share much more about that is our friend Natalie Poole. So glad to have you back this morning.
Always.
So, a lot of folks at this point of the year, you feel like, okay, you have nothing left in the tank, right?
Yes.
But we're actually talking about how giving back can make you feel good and fill that tank.
Absolutely. So here's the thing that's interesting. This time of year, we're so focused on giving, but we usually look at it from a monetary standpoint. We're trying to get the perfect gift so that the person is like elated and excited. And so sometimes we're spending so much in finances to give the perfect gift. But what we don't realize is giving back can also be just as beneficial for a person or a community. And what it does for us is actually wonderful. Not only does the person receive a beautiful gift, but then what it does for us, we learned that research says that serotonin is released, dopamine is released. So those are those feel-good hormones that in the end make us feel like, oh, we did such a wonderful deed. So it doesn't always have to be from a financial standpoint. It can be by doing something really great for the community.
It makes us feel fulfilled.
Absolutely.
So when you say giving back, that's such a broad term,
It is.
right? We're not just talking about, okay, finding that perfect present for a
Right.
friend or a family member. But what does that entail? What falls under that umbrella?
So I don't know about you, but for me, I have collected like all of my cards over the years I've ever received. And there's nothing like going back and reading them. Even recently, I was with my family, and my dad brought this portfolio or photo album of all the cards and all the little snowflakes I had cut off when I was a little girl. And I was like, oh my gosh, and it still brought him joy 40 some odd years later. Exactly, 40 some odd years later. So giving back can be something very small like that, writing a note, sending cards. I think we've gotten away from that.
We really have.
Yeah, and it feels good to kind of write down your thoughts and then give it to someone, and they always have that. You know, gifts sometimes can break, they can tarnish, we can lose them, they can break, but those cards can last a lifetime.
Especially that handwritten note.
Yes.
Like you said, we've strayed so far from that. And that personalization, it goes so much farther than we can even, know.
It does, because one of the things about writing a card and getting involved in our personal our thoughts and writing them down is we have the opportunity at that point to really pour out our feelings. I think sometimes we're so in a rush. We sometimes don't even sit with our feelings. So being able to sit down and really think about how much we care about the person, expressing our gratitude is a huge plus. Even something like, we just mentioned that on Wednesday we may possibly have snow. Shoveling the snow maybe for our neighbor, dusting off their car if we're already outside, putting a note in our kid's car can be a beautiful thing, sending them off to school. Very small things. You go out to get some Starbucks, paying for the person's coffee behind you. These are small, small deeds, but they go a long way for our community and for us.
And for ourselves. And I think that's what people tend to forget is that it's a win-win, because not only are you making that person in front of you feel better, but you're also getting that little boost as well.
Are.
I had a friend say last week, this season is all about giving for me.
Yes.
And she was trying to find ways of like spreading kindness. And even if it meant helping a neighbor,
Yes.
she was helping someone sell some things online who didn't know how to do it and kind of generate some income and that sort of
Yes.
thing. So there are ways that people can do it, and you can think outside of the box.
I love that you brought that up, because one of the things is we live in a community now where people are aging. And so we're such in a digital community. That's like, for them, they're like, what is all of this? So maybe getting with your neighbor or someone older in your family and helping them with those things. If maybe they're hoarding some things, maybe going through their house and helping them kind of clean it up and declutter before the new year starts. All of those are beautiful tasks. But when you go back home and you sit in your own private time, it feels really rewarding to know that you did something kind for someone and that it was beneficial. And it doesn't always have to break the bank in doing it.
Exactly. And I love how also we can teach our younger ones, our little
Absolutely.
ones to do that. Just yesterday I was at Target and in the checkout line, a mom behind me was telling me, had her boys buying Toys for Tots.
Yes.
And they were using their own money. And we had a whole conversation about it. And I said to my boys, like, what a great example
Absolutely.
that is.
Absolutely. It's a really phenomenal exercise to provide with our children, because it teaches them to not be so self-entitled and giving back, and they can then get to experience the reward of not also receiving, but also giving. And so doing things like the Toys for Tots, there's local communities, maybe gleaners, maybe going to a soup kitchen, volunteering, making little special kits for those toiletries for those who are homeless, passing them out. Those things go such a long way. And the beautiful thing is when you get to see the face on the person who receives it, it lasts a lifetime. I know for me, I love to receive gifts, but there is nothing more wonderful than my planning. when I'm planning for, I get so excited. I think I almost feel like it's
That
right?
you're getting the gift yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So explain for folks too, really quickly, the serotonin and the dopamine,
Yeah.
because I think that, most often we forget about the science that is truly behind it.
So our brain is so beautifully created and made that we release hormones. For example, when a person sometimes is dealing with depression, they'll come to my office, I'll prescribe meds such as Prozac, Zoloft. Those are antidepressants and they actually help regulate our serotonin. But internally we have that. So by doing beautiful things and living in a place of gratitude and reflection, our body will release those things naturally. Giving is one of those ways it can do it. Those are what we call the happy hormones. So we find ourselves maybe feeling a bit down, and then we go out, we do something nice for someone, and we start feeling like, wait a minute, I'm feeling a bit better. So our brain releases those things naturally, and we'll find that we're feeling much better overall.
All about those feel-good hormones,
about it.
especially this time of year.
Absolutely.
Thank you.